on Smoky Row, we had our red light district back in that time. So a lot of the ladies of the night were walking around with mattresses strapped to their backs. And yep, not all the guys could afford a hotel room, so they would just put the mattress on the sidewalk or the street and go from there in full view of the public. We also had a woman on the street known as the Beast of Dauphin who would walk around topless, and she would usually at that point get guys to follow her down the many dark alleys we have all around this area. And she would hit him in the head with a big old-fashioned kerosene lamp. And it would be lights out at that point for him. But she always got paid. She was a very resourceful lady. Yep, and we had another brothel right down at the end of the street near the Hyatt on Canal and Rampart. And that one was called the Pool of Souls because they put a pool in there right on top of a cemetery. They were digging the bodies out of the ground, throwing them out into the yard. And then because they owned the property, the city was trying to make them pay to rebury those bodies, and they didn't want to pay. So they just left them in the ground after that and kept putting the pool in. So after that, it's no longer a brothel, but there is still a pool there they let people go swim in. And if you do, you'll be able to feel on the bottom of the pool, the caskets are right there, still underneath, right through the liner. There's nothing in between the liner of the pool and the caskets down below. So you can easily feel them. It's a very haunted spot. And also, we had a lot of crime in the 1800s around this area too. Right down a couple blocks, they called it Gallatin Street, right around just a little bit away from where we are right now. And on Gallatin Street in the 1840s and 50s, it was considered one of the most dangerous streets in the entire United States. So at that time, we had a lot of gangs down there. We had the Live Oak Gang. That was a group of guys that would break branches off the live oak trees, and they would hit people in the head with the branches, taking everything they had. They would send police down there to try to do something about them. The police usually would not come back, and if they did come back, it could be in a bag. It wasn't until the Civil War that the Union took over New Orleans, and they sent the army down Gallatin Street to take out the gangs. So up until that, the local police were not able to figure it out on their own. And we also had a gang leader on that street named Bridget Fury. And Bridget also worked on Smoky Row and carried around a big axe. And if any of the guys on Smoky Row ever paid her any less than what she knew she was worth, she would follow them down onto Bourbon later in the night, wait for them to get drunk, and hit them right in the head with her axe. And she always got paid as well. And you might also realize at this point, a lot of people have gotten hit in the head here in the quarter on these stories. That's often the spot that gets targeted, whether it be physically or mentally. So put on whatever you think is going to help you to be safe, whether it's a football helmet, tinfoil hat, I don't know. But just realize that's what they go for. They usually go for the head. And our most notorious gang leader on Gallatin Street was another woman named Mary Jane Jackson. So Mary Jane Jackson was commonly known as Bricktop because she was a redhead. And the New Orleans Bee newspaper, our main paper in town at that time, described her as a quote-unquote full-bodied husky strumpet with a mop of flaming red hair. So if you ever called her a strumpet to her face, that was going to be a bad night for you. She would stab you to death with a double-bladed 5-inch knife and correct your terminology. Also, if you ever told her to clean up her own language, she would cuss you out, still stab you to death. And if you ever told her she was an alcoholic, you were going to get killed for that too. We don't like to hear if we're alcoholic here in the quarter. Call somebody that around this area, you might not make it out alive. So there was one guy that made that mistake. His name was Laurent Fleury. And he decided that he was going to tell Bricktop she needed to drink a little less for her health while they were out at a bar together one night near Bourbon. So she threw him down on the ground, stabbed him to death, And then when the bartender tried to escort her out of the building, she slashed him right across the face with the same knife that she was using already. Sent him running down the street holding the pieces of his face together. When they took Laurent for the autopsy, the coroner was so afraid of Bricktop, he determined that the cause of death was stress-related heart issues. Yep, because he didn't want to be the next one on Bricktop's shit list. He did not want to take a chance. So at that point, Bricktop was really starting to run out of people to kill. And next up was going to be her boyfriend. So she had a boyfriend named John Morgan, very big, built, muscular boxer jail guard guy. That was someone who also had one of his arms cut off by one of the inmates in the jail. He had it replaced with a ball and chain, like a medieval flail basically. And a lot of people even called him Bricktop's ball and chain. So one night, he had a whip in one hand, started trying to hit her with the whip. That was not her thing. She was not into it. So she grabbed it, threw him into the wall, grabbed him by the ball and chain, threw him down on the ground. He pulled knives out of his pockets, tried to stab her, and she bit them out of his hands with her teeth, threw him back down, finished him off with the knife. Only did 3 years in prison for all of it, from 1858 to 1861. And then she was released by a general, General George F. Shepley, who came over in 1861, took over New Orleans for the Union. And when he got in, we didn't really put up a fight. We let him in, we were ready for him. And he issued a blanket pardon, which released all the prisoners from all of the prisons in the whole city. Didn't even ask him what they were in for. He was probably trying to recruit people for the Union, maybe get some tough people with him. We don't know if Bricktop joined up with him, but we know she made her way out of town at that point and was not seen again. Until recently, she's been seen wandering around here as a ghost. And some people don't like Bricktop, but if you're one of those people, you don't want to let her know. So I would just smile and walk the other way, because if you tell her you don't like her, you're going to end up one of the next people we have to talk about on the tour. So just don't do that. Just walk the other way. Try not to get in a fight with the ghost. Anybody have any questions about Bricktop or Smoky Row? Anything we talked about at this spot?
Nope. So this
all right.
is Smoky Row, right?
Yeah, this was Smoky Row, right here on Dauphine Street. Yep.
Yeah, that's nice.
All right, no questions, comments, concerns?
Smoky Row.
Nobody's too traumatized yet?
Not yet.
All right, so we're going to keep going right down here.